Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another week of the Lee and Desi Real Estate Show. Thank you for joining us on Facebook Live. There's those drums. That's our great theme music. We are ready for another great show here on KVON 1440, the Lee and Desi Real Estate Show. Once again, we thank our sponsor, People's Home Equity.
That's right.
And we have a special guest coming up in our second half hour. We're going to have Martine Yatako, the branch manager from People's Home Equity, joining us.
Yes, talking about mortgages. Oh, yes.
Yeah, probably don't want to bang on that counter like that. Sound like Rush Limbaugh.
I know, right? You hear that. Yeah. I hear that too. Yeah, that's pretty crazy. Okay. We'll have Martine and Bridget in studio for our second half. And then Tom McDonald from Signet.
Yeah, we've got live studio guests joining us this show.
It is.
And as we always like to start out the show, it's Monday. We're recovering from the weekend. And what did you do this weekend, Desi?
Well, I just want to take the time first so everybody knows how to contact us.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
this is the business part of the show.
Well, we do. We want to make sure people know that we are hip and we're cool and we have a Twitter handle called...
One of the three of those are true because we do have a Twitter handle.
It's at Lee and Desi. At Lee and Desi on Twitter. And then we also do have a website, www.leeanddesi.com. And then we do have an email, leeanddesi@gmail.com.
There goes that theme again.
So you can contact us.
Yes, you can.
There are ways to communicate with Lee and Desi. And then we do have our television show, which airs.
All Things Napa.
Yes.
That's the name of the show. And
Yes.
you can see that on cable, on Xfinity, Comcast, Channel 28. And you can also see it on Uverse, Channel 99. And if you don't have either of those, you can always see it on YouTube.
Yeah.
All Things Napa.
It's Mondays is today at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and then we have another showing on Saturday at 7:30 p.m.
And we talk a little bit about real estate on that show, but mostly that show we talk to business, political, and nonprofit leaders in the Napa Valley community, and basically we throw them a softball question and let them talk. So it's all about them and helping them promote whatever it is that they're doing.
Because we try to do things for the community and hey, segueing into
the big thing we want to plug. We love the Pathway Home. The Pathway Home is a great organization that is helping returning veterans from the Afghan war, and helps them with reinserting themselves back into society. Mm-hmm. They leave here as 18-year-old kids, and they're told exactly what to do and when to do it. And then when they return, sometimes it's a little bit difficult to acclimate back into society. And the Pathway Home is a great organization that helps those with PTSD through an educational environment. And therefore, there's a golf tournament coming up on September 25th that is going to be benefiting the Pathway Home.
Right?
That is on a Monday. In fact, we're going to miss that show. We won't be here Facebook Live.
Right. That's what I was just going to say. So
or on the air. We're going to have to do one of the best of Lee and Desi shows.
Many shows that we have
done
already.
We'll have to pick from our archives of 3 to 5 shows.
That's right. So that's good. That's in September, and then we have something else coming up.
Well, before I forget, if anyone that's interested, just go to thepathwayhome.org. We still have room left. It has not yet sold out. So if you want to play golf that day, maybe you're not a golfer and you just want to come for the party afterwards. There's a reception with no live auction, just a silent auction, and just do your part to benefit the Pathway Home.
Yeah, that's I can't wait for it, even though I may not be able to make it, but I will contribute in another way. So that's fine. But we also do have another event, the Up Valley Luxury Home Tour, which also benefits.
The real estate community does a lot for Pathway Home.
Yeah.
So that's more of an event that's probably just going to be realtors and affiliates, Although it'd be nice to have John Q. Public to show up. Mm-hmm. So if you're interested in that, you can reach out to us at leeanddesi.com mm-hmm. Or at Lee and Desi on Twitter, and we'll plug you into that if you want to help out.
Well, and the lovely Marcia Hadler, she puts that all together every year and does a wonderful job. So we have a line of homes that are really, it's going to be fun.
That's probably something that a lot of our listeners don't realize is just how much the real estate community really does for nonprofits. And so we're happy to let everybody know that it's not just Desi and I. There's a lot of realtors that do that for the community. So,
well, away from other than that, what did you do this weekend? I mean, it was blues, brews, and barbecue. I
enjoyed my blues.
Yeah,
I enjoyed my brew, and I enjoyed
was it
my
just
barbecue.
One brew?
No, I did the beer garden thing. So $25, and you get a ticket, and that was going to give 7 tickets, and so that was going to allow me 7 tastes. And unfortunately, the tastes were quite small, so I had to supplement thereafter. But yeah, I got my little variety.
So you go through 20 of them.
Well, no, I
that
probably
maybe equals 3 beers.
Probably 15, which is probably. I think they were 3 ounces each.
Okay,
so it's not like I sat there and drank a 40 in a brown paper bag. But I had about that much beer.
So that's great. Yeah, I did not have the chance to go, but I trust that it was a good.
You headed south.
So I headed south to San Jose, and I went to the San Jose State game. They were playing at the University of South Florida, which is my alma mater, and so I had the opportunity to see my team, and it was fun. We were blasted by the sun, but it was definitely a fun event. So
it was definitely hot.
Yeah, and I noticed too, Napa City Nights going downtown, they had a play.
Yeah.
That was really interesting.
Yeah, Napa City Nights is over, so now it was Shakespeare in the Park.
That was pretty neat how they all set that up.
I can't remember the play that was played. But.
Right. Well, I did not stop, but I was in the area. We went.
That counts.
Yeah.
You drove by.
We drove by.
Ding. We need a bell.
But nonetheless, it was it's just a lot of fun things to do in Napa during the summer. So take advantage.
Yeah.
Okay, so also let's we know that Martine is coming in the second half, right? Of our show, so stay tuned for that. We're going to
walking into the studio right now is the one and only Tom McDonald.
Yes, Tom
from
welcome. Signet Reverse Mortgage.
Yeah. Well, good morning, Lee.
Good morning.
Desi, did I say that in the right order?
Yes. Yeah. Well, it has to be Lee.
If you want to stay in consistency with our
contractual. So
billing,
we definitely have it on contract saying we have to say Lee first.
I won the coin toss.
So, okay.
Why are you here, Tom?
Well, we're going to talk a little about reverse mortgages. I got some things that people just don't know. They have some assumptions, but there's some stuff they don't know.
Yeah. It is a topic that is often confused by those that aren't really familiar with it. So we welcome you to educate them.
Well, thank you. So I'm going to ask you guys a question.
Uh-oh.
Okay, so let's assume, and I know you aren't, but let's assume you're approaching age 62, and things are going okay. You own your own home, and you heard about reverse mortgages, but you think, gosh, maybe I should just wait until I need it. What do you think, now or later?
Well, I would definitely want to look into it. I've heard so much about it. The thing about myself and maybe others, and I think a lot of the community or public out there, is what is a reverse mortgage? What should we know about it, and how do we go about obtaining one, right? Maybe that would be one.
Right. Certainly looking forward to it in the early planning stages of a retirement, it makes a lot of sense. But what seems to happen is that many people wait until they need it. And in a lot of cases, that's too late for a number of different reasons. And that's the thing that people don't know about reverse and why they should do a little research ahead of time. So, for instance, there are 3 things that go into determining how much you get in a reverse mortgage. So one is the current interest rate, the appraisal of the house, and the age of the youngest borrower. So people think, well, gosh, I get more money the older I am. That's true, all things being equal. But it's about $3,000 per year of age more on your average Napa $500,000 house. Then you've got the appraised value. Well, it'll probably be more later. We found out it doesn't always happen that way, but that's what we expect. And then you've got interest rates. Well, here's the kicker. Interest rates trumps everything else. A half a point in interest rate means about $35,000 less in money. Wow. So that's just one piece of the puzzle. The other is that things happen over time, things that you don't know they're going to happen. So, for instance, in the past, FHA, which is the managing agency that handles reverse mortgages, reduced the principal limit. From your perspective, you'll call it loan to value. It's how much you get. And they reduced it over the course of 5 years by 10%, 5%, and 10% over different years. That means you got 25% less at the end of that 5 years than you would have previously. So we didn't know that was going to happen. It just happened. You've got things in the future. There have been times when we think that FHA is going to reduce the cap. It didn't happen this time, but we thought that might be happening. And then there's the growth of a line of credit that people don't know about. We'll talk about that on another week. But there can be more money later on if you've had a reverse mortgage for a while than if you didn't.
But if you think you might benefit from it, and then obviously they go and talk to you, because that's why you're here, is because I know for a fact that you can be trusted, and you've actually told me of clients that I know who just weren't the right fit. And that's very comforting that you can go to an expert that will tell you the straight skinny on things. So, but if beyond that, very important thing, can they set it up like a home equity line of credit and then not touch it until they're ready, but at least it's all set up?
Right. That was what I was alluding to, where we have the choice of either taking some cash up front, and a lot of people will do that to pay off a mortgage, monthly payments if they need it. But if they don't need it, in my example where you're turning 62, everything seems to be fine, you don't need it now, it all goes into a line of credit, and then that grows at the same interest rate you're charged over time. And so many years later, it can be a lot of money.
Right.
And the problem I see so often happening is that people spend through their savings saying, I'll wait until later when I need it. Everything's fine now. They spend through their savings. And while they might have had, just to make up a story, let's say a $200,000 mortgage, and the reverse mortgage gives them $180,000, they're short $20,000. Well, when they had $50,000 in savings, they could have made up that shortage and then done away with their monthly mortgage. But some years later, when they've spent all their savings and now they find themselves upside down, we can't do the reverse mortgage because we have to pay off any existing mortgages.
Let's back up a little bit. And for those who are not familiar at all with reverse mortgage, they just heard the term. Give us a 30-second, really layman's term of explanation of what is a reverse mortgage.
Briefly, you're borrowing against the house. You have to be 62, has to be your primary residence. You can take money then out of the home without making monthly mortgage payments. You still pay your taxes and insurance and keep up the normal maintenance on the house. You're still the owner of the house. The bank doesn't have the house, which is a common misperception. You can take money out in 3 different ways that I mentioned. Lump sum, usually to pay off a mortgage, cash, line of credit, monthly payments. We have fixed or fixed or adjustable. And it depends on your situation, which makes the most sense.
And Tom, quickly, because we got about 15 seconds, but what, we can take out the money, and that's what I think people generally understand. But how do you pay this back? That's what they're thinking. Where is it? Who's paying it back? If the person dies, who else? Is it the children that have to pay this back? what goes on in that respect?
Right. It is a loan. There is interest. And it does get paid back. Either it gets paid back when you sell, move, or pass away. And so if you wait till you pass away, your heirs are going to be paying it off. They may choose to pay it off and keep the house. Typically, when there's multiple siblings, they're going to sell the house, pay off the mortgage, and keep whatever's left over in equity.
Okay. All right. Well, and it is a bit of a complicated, but it can be made simple. And you need to call Tom McDonald. He's at Signet Mortgage, and his number is is it the number on the card here,
yeah,
Tom?
That's a good number.
707-265-6385. 707-265-6385. It's Tom McDonald from Signet Reverse Mortgage. And you can also catch him on his email at tom@reversemortgageconsultant.com. Tom, thank you for coming by. And, again, it's I think people they hear it all the time. It's on commercials constantly. Tom Selleck is now starting to sell that also on the commercials. But, I think a lot of people want to know about it. I know my mother wants to know about it. She's talking to me already. So it's good that you're on the air to let us know how it works.
Well, thanks for having me. And I'll be coming back if you don't mind. And a different scenario each time. I'll give you a little more information each time as we go.
Great.
We appreciate that.
Yeah, Tom's going to be a featured guest every week on the show, so we can address all things reverse mortgage for you.
That's right. Thank you, Tom.
Thanks.
All right. Let's move on to our next subject, which is, of course, it has something to do with real estate. And, boy, our Facebook Live is just having a heck of a time because it's really tough to get a signal.
Yes.
Here in the studio, I guess. So having trouble with that. But we're going to talk about real estate and, dare I say it, cannabis. Why would we talk about cannabis on a real estate show? Well, the cold, hard facts are that cannabis has to do with zoning. As far as where dispensaries are going to be set up in terms of distance from school, how a landowner can use their own property, permits, parking, traffic flow, licensing, all these different things. And so the future of the cannabis industry in Napa County is up to a point where there's a whole lot of things that are not yet answered.
Well, yeah, I mean, like I was saying it before, it's being introduced into society. It's a drug that's being introduced into. I mean, we know about it. It's been around forever. Okay, we know. It
used to grow wild all over the Potomac River, and it was eradicated, way back when.
And now we have to find ways to, bring it in, and it's going to be a lot of complex laws, and we have to protect the children, and there's just a lot of different. Issues at hand here, especially even with land use. I mean, people are going to say, well, it's my land. Why can I not grow it? I mean, it's a plant, for God's sake, right? So, but that's not the case. I mean, you do have laws, and we have to make sure that it's under regulation. But can there be over-regulation?
Well, and that's I've got a little bit of energy on this from the political leaders' standpoint. It's been 42 weeks since this was voted on and approved by the citizens of California to legalize recreational use of cannabis. And here we are 3 months away from having it be legal, and politicians are having all these meetings, and they're trying to figure out what they're going to do in all of these different areas. And it just kind of frustrates me that they would wait 42 weeks, and they're saying, well, there might be a delay in this and there might be a delay in that because of this reason or that reason. I do applaud Supervisor Belio Ramos for heading over to Oakland. That was in the article, just to check out one of the facilities that's over there that is a medical marijuana facility, not recreational, because that's not legal yet. So there's an educational effort being made. But my fear is that when they think about packaging for the edibles, that it looks too attractive to children. They're just now talking about that now? It just doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, and what's, they can delay this they can delay this talk all they want, but the fact of the matter is that it's happening. It's going to be legal next year starting January 1st. And if we don't decide on something of at least one dispensary in the county, at least one, you're going to see traffic increase because people are going to have to go elsewhere to get it. So
that's okay because there's no traffic south of Napa to Vallejo anyway. Highway 29 is virtually
wide open.
A parking lot. Yeah, no problem there at all. No, that's a good point. That is where those who partake from a medicinal standpoint right now, that's the only place or the closest place that they can get their cannabis down there. But it's just the overregulation I'm concerned with in terms of saying, well, we have to test things. We have to test like edibles that are made. Is it in a commercial kitchen? And so if the political leaders are saying, well, we can't say yes yet until we test out the manufacturing facilities of these edibles. And well, like you say, no, it's coming and it should be legal and they should have done what they're doing now earlier. Now, back to the real estate thing, it might be legal in the state of California, but the county is saying, no, you're not allowed, as county ordinance, you are not allowed to grow cannabis in the county outdoors. And I understand that because our industry is vines and wine. So if someone could make the argument, and they probably very well could, that, on a profit per acre, I could rip out all these vines and plant cannabis, that would be very bad for our economy. And so I applaud that regulation.
Well, and also, too, is that crop demands a lot of water.
Right.
So our water demands will be somewhat, at a level. And
there's a lot of vineyards that are dry farmed, but I don't think that would be the case in cannabis.
Right. So that would be an issue to talk about. But for the most part, there is a crop here that's well received throughout the world. So, we have our demands, and we have to make sure that we're producing at a high level. So bringing in another, crop like cannabis and trying to, intertwine the two, because that's been talked too, is like, hey, there's tasting rooms out here, right? Wine tasting rooms. Why not have a cannabis and wine tasting room, right? Well, it would make sense. Well, again, there's some old school farmers and farmers that have been here generational that are going to fight that because they've been, producing at high levels, and that's something that, and we don't have enough land as it is. I mean, we're talking about home affordability and building more and developing more. Right. Well, now we got another crop demanding, more space.
More space, right?
So that's another issue.
Yeah, and I don't know. The article mentions cultivation permits and whether or not those are going to be issued. None have been issued thus far. It was my understanding, and Desi and I are discussing this on the Lee and Desi Real Estate Show. We're not cannabis experts. I don't know a whole lot about it. We're discussing this from a perspective of real estate and how it impacts land use and permits and things of that nature and all the local jurisdictions. But I just don't want this to be yet another issue that is so overly regulated that it stifles what it could produce in terms of tax revenue for the county. That's
But see, that's the pro. That's the big pro is tax revenues from something like this could be just so overwhelming and well needed. And gosh, we can get affordable housing from, we can actually take from that fund and use it for home affordability. So that's something to look forward to if that's the case. But we really have to be careful. We have to protect the children, of course, is our main goal in this whole issue or topic. But we'll see what's ahead. They're going to have more meetings. There's another one coming up soon here on the 25th of September. Perfect date, right? I'm going to be over on the golf course while these guys are going to be roundtabling it. But, they're going to be talking about public health, safety, tax revenue, banking issues, a whole nature filled with, it's just filled with issues and topics. So anyway, September 25th, they're going to be going back to the table, and we'll see what they talk about.
I hope they figure it out. And I'm glad it's not our decision to do. We just want to talk about it every once in a while.
Yeah.
And we'll keep you guys posted.
Absolutely. Let's go to our break now, and we will be right back with the Lee and Desi Real Estate Show right here on 1440 AM KVON.
Stay with us. And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Lee and Desi Real Estate Show.
Yes. You're going to hit the drums.
There's the drums. There's my son playing the drums. Got to say that every single time.
I love it. Well, yes, welcome back. And, it's we have a fun-filled second half hour here. And we are going to just let you know that we are on Twitter at Lee and Desi. And we have our website, leeanddesi.com, and you can also write us on our email at leeanddesi@gmail.com. Now, we are also doing Facebook Live as we speak.
And we're going to, hopefully it will not disconnect, but we've had a little trouble staying connected on Facebook Live. So
yeah, we should be good, though. I think it's the positioning. Now it's just running. It's going.
We shall see. We apologize if you get disconnected from Facebook Live.
The only watcher is your wife, Leanne. Hi, Leanne.
I know. We had quite a few there for a while, too. So we are ready for This Day in History.
That's right. This Day in History.
This Day in History, in 1917, President Woodrow Wilson is picketed by women suffragists in front of the White House who demanded that he support the amendment to the Constitution that would guarantee women the right to vote. And President Wilson...
Were they dressed in black, I wonder?
No, and I think that it was probably a peaceful...
I get that feeling, too. They were a little bit
more
in
1917, peaceful. However, if you thought that, you would be wrong. Because, now, President Wilson previously had been lukewarm, just paid lip service to the women. Go, we'll look into that at some point. Maybe we'll do something. And he actually rode out of the gates, obviously, on a stagecoach, and waved politely to the protesters who were there wanting the right to vote. And then there were World War I protesters that were there as well, and there became a melee. And lots of women were arrested and thrown in jail, at which time they decided to go on a hunger strike. And things are a little different nowadays.
So different nowadays. I mean, think about it. A hunger strike, you don't want them to not eat, right? So that's pretty peaceful. And you'd be like, okay, I may give in to this.
Except
now
the jailers of that time force-fed the women. Can you believe that?
Ouch, okay. And you know what? Back then, they were probably a little brutal, though, too. Sure, they probably shackled them up.
Oh, yeah, it was bad. Well, we lost our Facebook Live again. Worried about bad PR, Woodrow Wilson said, all right. And he acquiesced, and what was it? A few years later, the women were granted the right to vote. So
good.
See, protesting can work.
Right.
It should be done with respect and without violence. Also, on this day in history, after 4 years of separation, Prince Charles and Diana officially divorced.
Oh, I was thinking they they got married.
No,
so I was like, I remember that on TV, but the divorce, I remember that too. But wow,
I'm just not a fan of the royals, so I just don't.
A lot going on.
I don't follow all that stuff. So anyway, that's our This Day in History. But right now we are honored to have Martine Yatako, the branch manager for People's Home Equity, joining us in studio, along with the lovely Bridget Nelson, the marketing and salesperson for People's Home Equity, covering the Napa and Sonoma County and Solano County area, right? Mm-hmm. Welcome.
Thank you for having us, guys.
Hey, you're very welcome. we expect to be enlightened and educated today.
Well, and it's always good to have you in studio. We're always calling you. I'm always pressing the wrong button or something, or my finger is not pressing it hard enough or something. So, yeah, it's good to have you in studio, Martin.
Thanks for having me.
So I read that last week there was a meeting in Jackson Hole, Wyoming. I've been to Jackson Hole, Wyoming. It's a cute little town, great for skiing. But all the top economists in the nation, including Janet Yellen, were in Jackson Hole. Do you know anything about that?
All I've heard is they're talking about when they're going to increase the prime rate again. Nothing's been set in stone. There's more of the reports coming out this week. So we'll find out by the end of this week. But the rates are still extremely low. It's a great time to buy an FHA government loans at 3.875% of VA, 3.875%. Jumbo 4%. VA you can put 0 down. FHA you put 3.5% down. And there's a lot of clients that always think that the money has to come from them, where it doesn't. It can be 100% gift. So it's a great program for first-time home buyers.
So you say VA, no money down. That sounds great. I'll take that.
Are you veteran?
There you go. No, I'm not. I support veterans. I do. I'm the co-chair of the Pathway Home Golf Tournament. Does that count?
No. So it would have to be a person that served in the armed forces, and they would have to be discharged with honorable discharge. And once that happens, you get your DD-214, and then you're able to qualify for a VA loan. But, of course, you still have to go through the pre-approval process.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And do you want to talk about the pre-approval process, how arduous it is, or is it a piece of cake?
It's pretty it's a process. What we're going to collect from the client, it's 2 years tax returns, 1 month's most recent pay stubs, 2 months most recent bank statements. And if we can package it and the client brings in everything that we need, we get the client pre-approved. And it's not just a pre-qual, because there's a lot of lenders or LOs that are just sending out actual letters, but the file has not been underwritten. So we have a program called Fast Track, where the file is actually getting underwritten with the documents, and then all we need is the contract, appraisal, and the prelim. So we can close on those pretty quick. If that happens, we can guarantee closing in 10 to 12 days.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That is just incredible.
And for our listeners, if you're just tuning in, this is the Lee and Desi Real Estate Hour, Real Estate Show, and we have Martin.
I know. I want to say hour too.
I know. I don't know why, but it's a show because it's so incredibly entertaining. Martin Yatako, the branch manager from People's Home Equity, talking about getting qualified, all the different programs. You have a lot of different products. It's not the same for everyone based on you're a veteran, you're not a veteran, jumbo loan, and those are the obvious ones. Are there others that depend on what you qualify for?
Yeah, we have jumbo loans. We have Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac loans, so high balances, conventional loans, VA loans, which we were just discussing, and FHA loans. So we have a lot of different products.
How do you recommend one over the other depending on who is applying?
Well, I mean, the first question that I'm going to ask is if the person's ever served in the armed forces, because if they have, VA is the pricing on a veterans loan is insane. It's a low rate. There's
a low rate and no points, no closing costs.
There's if a client puts 0% down, there's no monthly mortgage insurance. If you were to do a FHA loan or a conventional loan where you put, let's say, 3% down, you're going to have that monthly mortgage insurance, which can make your payment much more.
Roughly $350 based on the average loans around Napa County.
Yes,
right? Yeah.
Absolutely. So, I mean, it's a huge savings, $300 to $400 to $500 a month.
Yeah, it's like driving a car for free.
Absolutely.
A nice car.
Yeah.
Martin, and what is, so are you seeing, how is the traffic are you getting a lot of phone calls? In other words, I mean, are you getting a lot of people, despite the fact that there's low inventory, there's uncertainty, just with traffic in itself, for real estate, because what's happening is that we're having this problem out there in California and the nation that we're just seeing not enough inventory. And even here I'm seeing an alarming rate is the diffusion index, and it actually takes a look at the people looking at homes, and it dropped 4.7 points year over year. It's down low because of the low traffic. Are you not getting enough phone calls? I mean, what's going on? I mean, something has to give.
Yeah, how do you see the market?
Yeah, how do you see the market?
We're getting a lot of calls, but what I've been hearing from a lot of my clients is that there's some clients that want to sell their home. Mm-hmm. When they want to sell their home, then they're looking in the market what they can purchase. And for what they can purchase with what they owe, they get a little nervous and scared because the price is so much higher.
So they're looking to upgrade their homes, basically.
Upgrade or downsize.
Oh, okay, either one.
Yeah,
either direction.
Well, you're probably getting phone calls from baby boomers wanting to downsize now. Yes. That it's their time, their kids left, they're ready to downsize. The millennials are ready to get that upgrade, and they're waiting on the baby boomers to sell. So we're having a little bit of a face-off.
It's like a collision kind of thing, right? Because if the baby boomers aren't downsizing and they're not selling their homes, and there's nothing to for the first-time home buyers that are already in, and for those who are looking to buy for a first time.
Shortage of inventory. Yep. I also have a lot of buyers that want to buy a home, but they can't get their offer accepted because the market right now, I mean, it's definitely hot. Mm-hmm. I'm definitely seeing it slow down. Are you guys seeing it slow down a little bit as well?
Oh, yeah. In fact, I was looking at some trend reports last year, July of 16, there was 418 homes sold in Napa County.
Well, our solds have definitely gone down.
Yeah, and now, just passed, it was 358. So that's a sizable reduction in homes that were available for sale and that actually sold.
Mm-hmm. So we are seeing a little bit of that in the market. I think, again, some sellers are just nervous about putting it on the market and then not finding something on the other end. So, but again, low interest rates, and it's just this collision of the stars are it's really weird. It's kind of off, but again, you're seeing people still calling in.